what it is we're up to. And I was so surprised, pleasantly surprised to find that individually, um, people like, no, Faith is doing really, really well. Camille is doing really, really well. Liberty has taken to this blueprint. Mind you, she was on a 2 week hiatus. So she's taken to this blueprint really, really well. If you're not in the Nkosana, did his course. He did an advanced course in Premiere Pro. Y'all help me out in a weekend. So in the squad, we've been upskilling. We've been doing like all the things, I guess you could say. And we welcomed a new member to the squad, Maria, and she's got her blueprint and she's like amazing. I really would love for Maria and Faith K to have a conversation because they both have banking backgrounds. I won't say too much about Maria's background. I would love for her to network with you, Faith K, if you're in the house. She worked in corporate for Unilever and all of that. And since you work for like one of the big five banks, I'm just saying, like, get to know each other. You guys have a lot to talk about. Maria is now coming to us live from Tanzania. She left Pretoria not too long ago because she's a wanderlust, just like I am. She loves traveling. So I just thought that that was really, really cool. And we are officially on week 2 of the blueprint. Some incredible developments have happened inside the Paid Pillars course. I'm not yet at liberty to discuss what actually is happening to the Paid Pillars. All you need to know is that it is a platform that can stand on its own. Eventually, it'll be its own thing. It won't be called the Paid Pillars anymore. It'll have a more official name so that you can stick it on the wall behind you. And I've already said too much, but that's like pretty exciting. Liberty talked quite a fair bit about SEO and as well as her profile. And Liberty, I hope you don't mind me asking this because we're going to have a bit of an Upwork rant today. When you say SEOing profile, for the people who have no idea, what in the world is SEO? How does it work? How on earth do you then turn around an SEO and Upwork profile? Can you help us out with that? Like, can you first explain what is SEO and then tell us how you would SEO an Upwork profile? I'm really interested in these.
Mm, yeah, you should have said you're just gonna do this. You just should have said, like, I really needed to go out for 7 minutes, but it's okay, it's okay. That's because it's you and Tato and Cheryl and Cindy and Lisiko and Nicole G and Maria, Isa and Humel and Rebecca. Okay, okay. All right. So everybody here, we're not YouTubing, is this correct?
Let me check. We are on YouTube now. So if you are not yet,
Okay.
if you don't
All right.
feel
Okay.
liberated
No,
to
it's fine.
talk
It's
about it,
fine.
it's okay.
We'll
You don't
we'll
have
do the
to.
basics. We'll do the basics. SEO, by everybody knows by now, is search engine optimization. So you optimize your store. So when you own a business, you have a store. You're like, oh, Tato is selling sweets. Cheryl is selling Cheryl, what are you selling?
I'm
Cheryl,
thinking, think fast.
think fast.
I'm selling hair,
What
Girl,
girl.
is
come
I'm
on.
selling hay.
She's selling hair, right? And then she has a front store right there. And then it's like, oh, great, girl, I got a store and everything, but nobody's coming to your store. You're not on main. Nobody can see you. Everybody's on their phones or on the internet somehow. And that's how they get to find you. And you wonder, how come people are not coming to my store? Well, because you don't have SEO. So all you do is that you just take your hair to your warehouse or in a in your study at home. You put it there instead of the warehouse. And then you're like, guys, I'm opening up a web store. And my web store is like, oh my God, it's so cool because like all these people have like hair and I can show you all the things that you can't even explain to your customers when they come through, right? So you can show that. So when it comes to SEO, there's different kinds of SEOs. So basically, the SEO part is honestly, it is your store. It doesn't matter who says what to you at any given time of day or year or whatever. SEO will always be SEO. It's your front, it's your store, right? It is how you get the
Mm,
word. And then it breaks through um social media and YouTube, any platform. SEO applies through any media. Okay. So that is SEO. So SEO is allowing people to come and see you. And there are many different ways of doing SEO. There's on-site
mhm.
SEO, off-site SEO. It depends where you are located, how what your market is, and how big you want to, I mean, come on, guys. Like, if we even start, or everybody on this group right now can do research, right? Everybody. Is that correct? Guys, come on, tattoo you guys like,
Yeah.
come
So there's a
on.
reason why I asked Liberty to walk us through SEO. Um, thank you for that, Liberty. And the reason is because when you're inside the squad, you follow a two-pronged approach, right? It's more so when you're doing your blueprint. The very first week, I I don't want anybody sending proposals, right? We do not want you guys sending proposals. We want you doing what? Optimizing your profile. And so one of the ways in which you can optimize your profile, although we use the PSS framework, but one of the ways in which you can optimize your profile, thanks Liberty, is through SEO. So here's what I tell anybody that doesn't understand what search engine optimization is if you're on a platform and it has a little section and there's a magnifying glass and you can type words in there and search, you're dealing with something that has something called a search algorithm. All right. And so, because it has a search algorithm, there has to be an element of you optimizing the searching. And so, for me, it's always been a matter of what are the questions that people would ask. It's never been about keyword research or anything like that, although there are little nuggets that you can get on Upwork, like the gray font tells you whether or not that is a keyword that a client uses. And so you'd want to use that as a keyword on your profile. But that gets really interesting because the people are ranting and raving in my comments about not really profiles. They finally understood the SEO element of a profile. And thank gosh, Liberty went ahead and reiterated certain parts. Now people are saying things like, my viewed proposals are not getting any interviews because clients on Upwork are not serious. And I want to put forward my diagnosis, and mine is that clients are serious, but they're busy, right? They receive multiple proposals. And if yours is not compelling, then they're not going to respond to it. So I want you to think about it like this. And I can actually really empathize with a lot of people because you're putting in the time, you're investing your energy, and you're getting nothing. Nothing. So you open Upwork and you're excited and you're hopeful, you tailor your proposal, and you know that you are an absolute great fit for this project. You can practically see yourself starting the project. But all you get is a notification that your proposal's been viewed, which, right? Because yes, I knew it. So then you get one view, two views, and then crickets, crickets. So it's like you're being ignored at a party. You're there, you're dressed to impress, but no one's giving you the time of day. So then you start questioning yourself. Is it me? Am I boring? Am I saying all the wrong things? And that's the kind of thinking that is enough to make you think that the whole system on Upwork, I'm like low key trying to see whose microphone is still on. It's enough to make you think that the system on Upwork is rigged. Or like, am I wrong? Can I get a heart if I'm at least on the money there? You're new on the platform. You've been watching my YouTube videos. You're following everything, the PSS framework, attention to detail, reading, value, seeking permission, asking questions. You're doing all the things correctly and crickets. So obviously, clearly the system is rigged, or maybe you're just not cut out for this. So now I want you to imagine that you're spending even more hours writing proposal, and you're having to do that as even more work than what you're pitching for. So the struggle is super real. And the worst part, you are on the right track because you've seen it work for other people before. You see the very odd person every now and then, once in a blue moon or once in a purple moon or once the moon turns red, that somebody will post their wins, right? So clients are looking, but it still feels like you're standing on the edge of a cliff. So really, really close to landing the project, but not quite close to making it. So every day you log in, you see the views, no interviews, and it feels like you're shouting into a void. And honestly, let's be real about it. It doesn't just hurt your confidence, it hurts your income. Connect, they cost money. And so it also hurts your livelihood, puts your livelihood on the line. So, what would be the true cause of something like that? Hello, welcome, you person. Let me just take a look at the chat and see what's going on. I did see somebody type in, oh, it was Rebecca. Yep, she understands me. She said, Mize galore. No, I guess, Rebecca, the thing is, a lot of people, they hop on Upwork, they send proposals, their proposals immediately get viewed. They know exactly how the system works. Their proposals not only immediately get viewed, they get interviewed and they get hired immediately. So they really can't relate to the story of sending proposals over and over again. You think you figured it out, you get the views don't translate to interviews, or they translate to interviews and the client goes ghost. They can't relate to that. So that is the reason why they're mising. They're hoping I'm going to explain it because don't know her. So let me see if I could paint a vivid picture for y'all. Here's why that could potentially be happening. It's not that your proposals are not being seen. They are just not grabbing the client's attention the way that they need to. I'm going to check in on YouTube. Hopefully they get what I'm saying. So you need to stand out in a sea of freelancers who are all claiming, I'm the best, I'm the most reliable, I'm the most experienced. So you're in a crowded market and you're yelling. But here's the thing, if you don't have something compelling to say, you're still going to get drowned out. You might as well, I don't know, show your butt cheeks, because at least you're doing something different in a sea full of everyone talking about I'm doing XYZ. Or you can think about it as dating, minus the butt cheeks, because we don't do that over here. Anyone can get noticed when you're dating, but how do you make sure that you're the person that someone actually wants to sit down with and actually get to know? You can be cute, you can be attractive, but then you also have to be intriguing. And that is where we go into understanding the client's psyche. So in the paid squad, we kind of figured out the code on what makes proposals irresistible. And yes, we do have some AI wizardry going on in there. We have Claude by Anthropic. We've got our own custom AI tools. But the secret is that the tech is only one small piece of the puzzle. Basically, for people who've decided that they're going to take Neuro and then bounce, you basically have like a Ferrari, but you don't know how to drive it. You can look cool, right? But you're not going anywhere, and you're not going anywhere fast. Sure, the tools can help you optimize and customize, but the magic only really happens when you know how to strategically actually use those tools to address the various nuances of client psychology. So that's where you go from just another freelancer to someone that they have to interview. And Kaya, can you tell us in like a small sentence, not a paragraph, what is the thing that you do to make the client go, maybe Kaya might be the one? There, you have to be something. You have to remember, if I'm a client and I've invited a bunch, this is me making it rain. Invited a bunch of freelancers to my project, right? And a huge majority of them have been like looking at my project and they're like, hell no. And I've gotten a bunch of no's. I'm dealing with rejection. But now the pedals to the metal, because on average, the average Upwork client hires within 3 days. So it's day two. Now that I've dealt with rejection, what's the other R that I'm dealing with, Kaya? Like it's a big one for me as a client. There's rejection, and then there is
Jeez, I don't know. I don't know. Risk.
Rebecca. Yeah, somebody. Risk. Thank you, Rebecca. So we're dealing with all the time when a client wants to hire us, or when we want to be hired. Let me be honest with you. There's less of us than there are of them on the platform. That's the math. But at the same time, there's more of us that talk a good game than are actually qualified. So because of that, there's a huge risk for clients. And so when you're talking the client's language, the very first thing that you're going to want to do in your proposal, if it's not the first, it's close to the CTA. You want to de-risk the engagement. So where most freelancers go wrong is that they think that one proposal is one size fits all. So they try to wear the same suit to every single occasion. Yes, that might be your best suit, but it doesn't fit the occasion. You look a little out of place here. And that is the key. Every single proposal has to feel like it was made just for the client. The other thing that I have noticed, today is Monday, the other mistake that a lot of freelancers make, they don't track their success. When you're sending out proposals blindly without reviewing what's working and what isn't, you're throwing darts in the dark. And you might actually hit the bullseye, but when you do, you have no idea. It's in the dark. Or you're just throwing the darts and you're never really hitting the bullseye because you don't know, because what? You're in the dark. So what I've decided I'm going to do for the next, I don't know how many minutes. Let me just quickly check on YouTube and then I'll tell you how many minutes, because I have a new rule. When we are on YouTube, we are not going to be on YouTube for longer than 45 minutes, because YouTube has a very small attention span. And according to the analytics, yeah, I'll just don't be watching stuff for that long. Zola says, "You are live." And I am saying, yes. Spiso says, hey, Spiso. Karen says, is Paid Squad a once-off payment or a monthly? Karen, Paid Squad is a monthly membership. So if you're wondering, that's what it is. Zozo Gaming says, I have a 0 rating on my profile. How do I improve that? Simple. If your profile has no rating, get clients. I know it's like, if you want to be rich, stop being poor, but legit, if you have no rating, if you have nothing going on in your, you have to send proposals, you have to get clients. Or alternatively, you can bring in inbound clients. I'm not sure where my answer to Karen went, but yes, Karen, this what is a monthly membership. Let me just break it down what you get inside the squad. You get a course. You get 2 courses, actually. You get a course. You get 3 challenges. One that I'm currently undertaking. And I actually spoke to Maria about it. Maria has decided that she is going to blow my challenge through the water, but I won't put her on the spot, so I won't talk about what her challenge is. We also have something called the blueprint, which is to go from 0 to hero in 12 weeks. You have your one-on-one coaching. You have your inside your blueprint coaching, and that happens every single day. Then you have your group daily coaching. And then we have our 24/7 squad co-working room where everybody in the squad has gone into this wonderful co-working room, and they have inside the squad chat, and they've all decided to tell us what times they are available. So you will be able to co-work with anyone and everyone at every single time of the day. So it's pretty awesome. Let me see. Sviso says I'm 17 and starting to get into freelancing. Good decision. I wish I had gotten, honestly, I had many chances to go into freelancing. I used to make MySpace websites. I don't know if anybody even knows what that means, but yeah, I learned how to code HTML and CSS way back when. And then that was awesome. And people would ask me to make skins for them all the time. So I would just make MySpace skins and just give them to the people. I wouldn't even sell them until I saw one girl on Dr. Phil. She had become a millionaire selling MySpace skins. And I was like, what? Just livid. So I've always been doing things on the internet. I just never realized you could get paid. So 17 is the perfect time for you to start freelancing. Just don't forget to pay your taxes. The government wants to get paid. Doesn't matter by who. You're not absolved. Vali says, what makes you stand out? Is it the portfolios or the actual proposals? The actual proposals. Here's the thing. When we first started out with the squad, and I can say this to you with a straight face in 5 seconds flat. When we first started out with the squad, we didn't even put links or anything inside our proposals. Do you remember those days, Kaya? It was just a really well-made, this is before, AI, generative AI went mainstream. It was just a very well-written proposal. And we didn't have a lot of stuff going on in our portfolios either. If you had done something and it was really good, you would pop a link in there. But thing that really stands out the most, regardless, is the value proposition that is the proposal. Yes, Kaya.
Hey, quick one. So I've been experimenting for the past few days when I send proposals, right? I add Loom links for I did that for like 3 proposals last week, and was it no, I did for 2 actually. I didn't get any views. And and then I experimented with, and and I'm sure you're probably going to say like, Kaya, why are you doing this? But on LinkedIn, when I send, a job proposal, I know you're going to give me flack about that. I know. When I send job proposals, but this is more of like an experiment. And then I'll attach a link to my portfolio on my resume. I got a call back today from like one of the companies, and it was an automations role. Um, and then the recruiter did not even click on the link. So it just makes you think that it's the proposal that actually makes sense. So to answer Bali's question, just to add on to your answer to Bali, it's that they don't really, clients don't really have time to go through your
They
portfolio.
they don't have time.
They just want to see what can you do and what can you offer them at whatever time frame that you can do that for. That is it.
ASAP. And a
ASAP.
secret we found, Kaya, is
Mm,
that a lot of the people that are going to be hiring you on Upwork have no idea how to do what they're going to be asking you to do.
exactly.
So they are like, that's where the de-risking factor comes in. They are like hoping and praying that you are the one. All right. Does anybody know the Netflix show Love is Blind? They
Mm.
are hoping and praying that if you say you're Megan Fox behind that wall, please be Megan Fox, because
Only
like
you
people
would
are gonna
say.
make fun of them if it's not Megan Fox behind that wall. Like the whole country is watching me fall in love with someone who says they're Megan Fox. And they're all like, all right, y'all, he gonna find out. But what y'all think he gonna do when he find? That is what it's like. It's like blind dating, high stakes. It's high stakes blind dating. That's what it's like for the client. And I'm gonna keep talking like this because I want you guys to start thinking like the client. Because when you do, you're going to do everything humanly possible to de-risk things for the client. You're going to go a little bit to the extra step. The Loom videos, the Zoom videos, the Zoom clips, as they're called. Back when I used to do them, here's the difference. This is for the squad only. Let me see how many minutes we are into YouTube before I cut y'all off. Let me see. It doesn't want to say. Okay, I might not cut you off now. I'll be nice. But when back in the day, 6 minutes, I think not. Liberty says it's 6 minutes on YouTube. So back in the day when I used to send Loom videos, when I still used to pay for the Loom subscription, I stopped. I got a haircut. So bad one. I still need to cut off some more layers because there's damage. But anyway, and that's why I can't stop touching my hair. Anyway, I used to send the Loom videos, and my value proposition was that I would automatically dive into the audit without seeking permission. And the clients would really sit there and they would be like, I just got the first win, right? So my Loom video would de-risk hiring me. And so when you send a Loom video, it's still not about you. You think it's so that they can hear that you don't speak with an audible accent. You think it's so that they can see that even though I live in Africa, I'm not in a hut. You think it's all those things, but the reality is that even if I didn't show my face in the Loom videos, I always did. And one time I was at a friend's house and they happened to have like a whole thing of chickens. Like they are obsessed with homesteading. Like they make Onezwa look like a subsistence farmer. They had a whole thing of chickens. And all you hear was like roosters in the background. And it's Loom so that it doesn't have noise canceling like Zoom does. And I'm just like, they probably think I am Africa. Like Africa, right? But I made this Loom video anyway, and that turned into one of my high paying clients because the very next week, the girl was back in her space. But in that Loom video that I sent, it was all about the client, what it is that they're getting out of the experience with me. And we spoke in a language that the client understood. I'm not saying jargon, but we spoke in a language that the client understood. And clients only understand really one language or one phrase. What's in it for them? De-risk and let clients know what's in it for them. We kind of took a bit of a detour. And I was not throwing shade at Onezwa Tuttle. I'm very impressed with her. Literally the idea of slaughteration of chickens scares me so much. I could never do it. Sviso says, as a newcomer, what should I focus my skills on in freelancing on Upwork, and how must I charge and what time period? Ooh, I love these questions because you know they're asked by people who've never watched a single video on this channel. I'm kidding. The first question, what should you focus your skills on? In Japanese, they call it ikigai. The things that you're most interested in, the things that you're really, really good at. Imagine these as circles, all right? And where they intersect is your ikigai. That is the thing that you should be doing. So if you're really, really good at analyzing things, or you can recognize patterns where they don't exist, it's a human phenomenon anyway, psychologically. And then at the same time, you can make people laugh. I can tell you now, as a marketer, you would crush. Not just any kind of marketer, but a marketer and a copywriter. So your ikigai would allow you, the thing that you're most skilled at and the thing that you love, where they intersect, would allow you to be a really good marketer slash copywriter slash brand strategist, because you can recognize patterns where they don't currently exist in the mainstream. And then the minute they do exist, it's already too late because you've made your profit. So that's the very first thing that I would recommend. If you don't know what skill to offer, kind of audit, what service, excuse me, audit what you're good at, and then compare it to what it is that you enjoy, not so much what it is that other people tell you you're good at. You can ask other people, but ideally what it is that you're good at. And also, Sviso, since you're so young, I have a free gift for you that I'm going to pop inside the chat. You'll see it's going to say free gift, just so that you can watch video number 1, please. Just for you. It's like your own life orientation episode. So just check that out for you, CISO, the free gift right there. And let's carry on with the next piece of the first practical tip that I can give you when it comes to people who complain about their proposals getting views but not interviews. The first thing that I want you to do is to do a little bit of market research and analysis. So we've done a lot of that in the squad. Leading up to now that the wins are starting to come in, like it used to be every week, now it's like every day, or every other hour, somebody's got to win. Somebody got to win. I love it. But do you guys remember all those weeks on weeks on weeks of market research and analysis, and how deep we went with it? Understanding your client's needs goes far beyond reading a job post. You literally have to ask yourself, what keeps this client up at night? Remember, Kaya, the whole idea of, oh my gosh, it's been 2 days. They've invited 4 people. They're interviewing 1 person. They've received 15 proposals. None of them are good. They last looked at this project 5 minutes ago. This guy is scared out of his mind because he actually doesn't know what he's doing and he has not found a candidate. And this is urgent, right? This is keeping them up at night. So then what is their ultimate goal? And what is it that's blocking them from getting there? You really have to dig deep. You can, if you want to, if it's possible, if they're not new on the platform, and this is a life hack for those of you who want the quick wins, the ones who really want to win, read the reviews. The other thing you could do, Upwork gives them to you at the bottom once you've done your mega scroll in green. Look at the similar jobs that they've posted in the past. This is not stalking. This is just gathering intel. It's a really good thing. And so the pro tip is sometimes your client will give away all their pain points in their feedback to other freelancers. So a client who says, great work, but a bit slow, is basically screaming, show me you can be efficient. Does that make sense? Let me just give it to the members of the squad quickly and see what anybody else has to say. Oh, you're welcome, Sviso. You're very welcome. Oh, to be 17 again. Y'all, I'd be a millionaire. All right, so let me just double check quickly. How many minutes have we been live on Facebook? I'm going to do one more tip for the great people that are on YouTube. And then I guess I'll share the rest tomorrow, because then we'll carry on inside the squad. So the second one, and if you feel sad, it's okay. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow, and I'll re-upload this in a nicer quality with more editing and more cool things that you can always, I think, catch the live stream. If you miss this and you can't catch the live stream, I don't know what to tell you, but we'll make a re-upload so that you can catch the re-upload. All right, so the second thing is you have to think about emotional triggers. So remember weeks ago, I kept telling you that there are certain common buyer types that we noticed inside the squad. We noticed methodical, we noticed analytical, we noticed skeptical, we noticed humanistic, driver buyers. All of these buyers, when we go deeper and do our market research, we know exactly what it is that they're complaining about implicitly, either in the additional questions they ask us or in the types of reviews that they leave other freelancers. And to be kind of honest, remember Alistair, the blueprint? Alistair took risks because he was able to read between these lines. He was able to see a client's review to a previous freelancer and still work with them, even though the other freelancer was like, buyer beware. He read what the client had to say and he was like, all right, when we work with this client, here's the risk factor. If we ensure that we can do ABC, we're going to get 5 stars from a quote unquote nightmare client. And so if you want to get to Alistair levels, obviously you're going to do the risk assessment yourself. But the other thing that I want you to remember is in storytelling, we care about emotional and psychological triggers. So let me tell you about a client that I landed. They had a project in crisis mode and they were looking for a quick turnaround. I didn't just tell them what I could do. I painted a picture of how I'd come in, how I'd fix the problem, and how I'd have the project back on track before their next team meeting. You see how we did that? Exactly as Kaya said. You paint the picture of how you're going to fix the problem, how long it's going to take you to fix the problem, and that visual, that emotional trigger seals the deal. So storytelling is actually empathy. It's not fluff. It's the backbone of making a connection with your client. So you want them to see you as the superhero who's going to come swooping in and save the day, not just another freelancer who's trying to get paid, or worst case scenario, begging for a gig. Like, yeah, we don't call them that. Does that make sense, you two? I hope so, because I'll see you guys tomorrow. Squad, we're going to carry on. We're going to keep talking about these complaints versus the symptoms and the diagnosis, or what these complaints kind of reveal about the platform. So today's